Remember, many people do not cheat because they want to cheat. Sometimes they just cheat because the environment normalizes it. So in the Western world, it's very easy for a man to get upset. It's very easy for a man to feel like he is no longer getting the respect and loyalty that he used to get from a woman, so therefore, he will not be able to tolerate that. And you see one thing with men, most especially men from the motherland, is that they value their respect more than anything. They do not want to bow for any woman for God knows what. They do not want to do that. Hello, amazing people. How you guys doing? And of course, I remain your girl, Fidelia, and I want to believe you're staying safe and of course staying out of trouble. So today we are going to continue with our Life in the Western World Part 2. Yes. In this very section, we will be discussing life in the Western world with regards to relationship. What living in the Western world can do to relationship if it's not properly handled. Yes. Remember in the part 1, I told you that in my own opinion, that life in the Western world is very, very boring. Yes. It's boring for me, and I want to believe it probably would be boring for many others. I would also love to put up this disclaimer again. Whatever I am going to discuss in this very section is my own opinion. It does not have to be the general public opinion. If you have a different opinion from what I'm going to discuss today, please do not hesitate to leave your own idea or your own opinion in the comment section. Okay, so let's proceed. Like I said, we are going to be discussing life in the Western world with regards to how it affects relationship. So, living life in the Western world, or rather living life abroad, can destroy a relationship if it's not properly handled. It takes two to tango. It takes two couples that understood and have a good sense of maturity to be able to handle their relationship within the test of time. Because living life in the Western world will try you, will drain you, will test your relationship, and will stretch your relationship to the extent that if you do not have patience, it will destroy it very easily. So today I'm going to be walking you guys through on the 5 key ways on how living life in the Western world as someone in a relationship, or rather someone in marriage, can be destroyed if it's not properly handled. My discussion today would somehow be relatable to African living in diaspora. Yes, why I say that is because I'm one of the African living in diaspora, and of course, I would be having this discussion with regards to how I know it affects Africans, and of course, I believe it will also affect other people from different countries or different continents that traveled out from their own base to other places, right? So let's move on. Today, I will be giving you guys like the 5 key ways on how living life in the Western world, being in a relationship, can be destroyed if it's not properly managed, maturity handled. It will be destroyed, except the both people in a relationship are matured, have a good understanding, and try to be patient in most cases. But if not, living life in the Western world can destroy your relationship, in my own opinion. So, my first key point on how living life in the Western world can destroy your relationship is the Western world already is lonely. Living life in the Western world, be you a single person, be you a married person, be you someone in a relationship, is very, very lonely. I must tell you that. The Western world teaches people on how to survive alone. The life in the Western world is built in a way by which people are expected to survive alone. Yes. So if you're in a relationship, you would definitely experience the test of time, struggle, and trying to fit in to make it work. Here in the Western world, life is built in an individualized way. They make you to learn how to survive alone. They don't teach you how to survive around and within a community or a culture kind of lifestyle, or rather survive within some little group of society. So over time, you might see people in a relationship or couples in a relationship trying to coexist as roommates rather than doing life together, because the West will stretch your relationship. And this is how the West can stretch your relationship. Everyone gets emotional, or even most times they are emotionally unavailable because of the time they put in trying to make ends meet. And in this situation, you would notice that the love people once shared becomes optional and no longer intentional. Remember, if you are a woman living like back in Africa and your partner is somehow in a middle class, doing well and could take care of you, and perhaps if you have a driver taking you around, if you have a driver taking you places, if you have a driver doing the drop off for you for the kids, taking the kids to the school and bringing them back, if you have people living with you, trying to serve you, trying to do some cleaning and all whatnot for you. Hey, if you find yourself in the Western world, all those things will change. You will learn to do all those stuff for yourself. You will not even depend on the man to do it, because the way you think life is in back home is never the same in the Western world. And most times you would see men, there are good men. There are good and well trained men that know how to take care of their partners, that knows what to do at the right time, that know the basic thing on how to treat their partners, most especially if both of them are based in Africa. If they are based in Africa, you would see a man doing all he can to take care of his family. In most cases, they would not even want their wife to work. They would want them to take care of the kids while they do the whole working. They will provide them with drivers, provide them with cooks, and provide them with all whatnot. And they would definitely do all their best to make sure their family is comfortable. And of course, such women enjoy life to the fullest. But hey, you woman, if you find yourself in the Western world, I bet you life will never remain the same. You would be the one doing all that. You would be the one taking care of the kids. You would be the one to take care of the home by yourself. And if care is not taken, you would also be out there working and making ends meet, just like the man. I'm just trying to let you know in case you are trying to move. So you would be able to know what to expect when you come over. You see, in the Western world, relationship does not really end because a man cheats or a woman cheats. No. Relationship slowly dies off, and before you know, it will end. So, the second key way on how living life in the Western world as a someone in a relationship can affect or destroy the relationship is cultural differences. Yes, you know that, of course, when people move to the Western world, they have come from a different cultural background and they have mingled with the people in the Western world. And here, definitely, we have culture differences and conflict. And now, the ideas that surround love, marriage, relationship, gender, communications, and the role you play in your relationship are often different. And the difference in these ideas when it comes to relationship, roles, gender, communication, marriage, and, and love is quite different from where you are coming from, right? You would definitely know that the cultural difference can never be overemphasized. Yes. So, this cultural difference from these two places causes misunderstanding when it comes to living life in the Western world, especially when one partner is adapting so fast, learning so fast from the lifestyle that he or she have seen in the Western world, and why the other person is still trying to maintain the cultural decency with regards to where they were coming from. And in this situation, because partner A is adapting so fast to the Western lifestyle, while partner B is still trying to live the cultural lifestyle that he or she was groomed out from, right? Now, you would see these two people having cultural differences, which they never had before, which they were able to have an understanding and manage with ease before. But because they have migrated to the Western world and someone is adapting so fast because he or she love the lifestyle that he or she sees, and definitely they want to adapt so fast and they are moving so fast to fit in. And in this very situation, this would start affecting the relationship. And in this case, what feels normal to one person would definitely feel disrespectful to the other. You know, take for instance, coming from a place like Africa, you would see couple, they have this understanding. You would see couple, they try to manage each other. They try to respect each other with regards to how culture have designed it to be. You would see a woman definitely respect the spouse, the husband, try to prepare food and serve the husband, try to do everything, try to do the husband laundry if needed, try to take care of the home, try to do everything that the culture expected her to do without feeling biased. Right? But living in the Western world, because the both party has to be up and doing, both of them are working, both of them are putting in those time, both of them are somehow sharing bills together. Now, in a case of a woman, she might find it difficult to remain her humble self, just like she used to be when she was back home. Do you know why? Because if she was the one that was faster to adapt to the Western world lifestyle, she might feel like she is doing too much. She might have this mindset, because I am in the line of duty just like you, because I am struggling trying to make ends meet just like you, because we both are paying bills together, you do not expect me to do the things that I normally do when I was back home. You do not expect me to come back, cook food, and serve you just like I used to do. Because of what? Because I am putting in the same energy just like you. Do you see the cultural differences here? The second example which I can give you is, you would see a man that have lived in the Western world, but now he still believe in the mindset of his cultural upbringing. He still have this mindset that for anything wants to marry someone from his background rather than getting connected to someone here in the Western world, right? You would see him travel far and wide, goes back home, get married to a younger person. He might be in his 50s, because life in the Western world have a way of stretching the man. Before they know, age has clocked past. Before you know, the man would be in his 40s and his 50s and maybe still single, because it takes a whole lot for him to get himself situated. Now, having done that, he might not have the time to study. He might not have the time to try to, you know, upgrade himself, he might probably be doing a mini job, having this mindset that by the time he get himself situated, he would go home, get married to a younger person, bring her over to study here, and then probably after she must have studied something meaningful, she would now be the one that have more educational background. So the third key ways on how living in the Western world can affect a relationship, destroy a relationship, or rather separate the people in that relationship is when money becomes more important than love. And also, financial pressure replaces emotional connections. Let me tell you, the pressure to make it here in abroad is very, very intense, both for the man and the woman. The bills can never be overemphasized. Everybody has to be up and doing. And that is where you see people living individualistic lifestyle. You would see people doing a long time job, working multiple jobs, working excessive overtime just to make ends meet. And financial stress can cause couple or partners in a relationship to prioritize connections. And when this happens continuously and over time, you would notice that love will fade away, conversation becomes transactional, and emotional intimacy at this point will suffer the test of time. And in this situation, you will see that that position or that man figure kind of lifestyle, which makes men to be the most people to take responsibility, to be the people that takes care of, the family, will shift because it would definitely be too much for the man to handle. And when it turns this way, you would see couple stop communicating like they ought to do. You would see the man respect the woman, and of course, the woman respect the man. You will see people observe their boundaries and give respect and honor to who honor is due for. But life in the Western world would redefine that loyalty. It will make someone to feel easily disrespected. It will even make who that is expected to respect the other to see respect as nothing. And in this situation, what was once considered respect and being humble will be redefined and then will be seen as controls and restriction. Remember, many people do not cheat because they want to cheat. Sometimes they just cheat because the environment normalizes it. So in the Western world, it's very easy for a man to get upset. It's very easy for a man to feel like he is no longer getting the respect and loyalty that he used to get from a woman. So therefore, he will not be able to tolerate that. And you see one thing with men, most especially men from the motherland, is that they value their respect more than anything. They do not want to bow for any woman for God knows what. They do not want to do that. And I, for one, I believe that the way the culture placed a man position is absolutely okay in my own opinion. But it's just that in some cases, when a woman probably start making income and somehow make income more than the man, in some situation, the character might change, attitude might change, disrespect might set in. And on the other hand, even when all what I mentioned right now is not happening, the man on his own will start having this inferiority complex. He will start feeling low. You would definitely start thinking that the woman is looking him less. So, in both parties, they have this problem of trying to handle their individual differences when it comes to financial inclination. And also, if the man did not actually build himself but decided to build the woman just to make ends meet, to build the woman just to have her support the family by the time she probably get done with school. By the time she get done with school, in some cases, she would start looking less on the man. Because of what? She believes in her own opinion that both of them are no longer in the same class. Maybe she happens to have read one of the professional courses, but then the man was still on the low low, doing the mini job kind of lifestyle, right? In this situation, most women tend to look down on the man, believing that they are no longer in the same class. She is trying to compare him with the class where she thinks she belongs now. And in this situation, this made the relationship experience crisis, and in some cases, it will lead to separation or divorce. So now, the number five, but not the last way on how living life in the Western world can either destroy a relationship or make the couple separate, or rather end a relationship, is accountability. Yes. In a relationship with regards to living far from home or living distant far from where you were born and grew up from, is that most time these cultural differences tends to affect you people in the sense that couple are expected to have issues. Marriages are expected to experience crisis. Partners definitely have to quarrel in most cases. But in this situation, when it happens back home, you might have family try to settle it, or you might have the kindred, or the people that are related to both parties try to settle it before it gets out of hand, right? Take for instance, in a situation of marriage, when the situation start getting bad, you might probably want to talk to the family of the man or talk to the family of the woman to see how they come in, to talk to the party that is involved to have the case settled, right? There is always a way for for family to settle issues in most cases. Yes. That is the benefit of living close to home, and that is benefit of what? Observing and still maintaining the culture and the lifestyle at which you were groomed out from. Or you see one thing in the Western world, no one comes to help you fix any relationship. Because already here in the Western world, relationship is meant to be individualized. Relationship is groomed in a way that you are expected to live an individual lifestyle. You are expected to groom yourself individually. You hardly see people in the Western world that live life together till their old age. In the Western world, people that live together till their old ages are just few. You would also see people that want to still maintain the culture and the lifestyle of where we are coming from. They understand culture. They want to say, you know what, my parents did this. My parents were able to handle this. I can handle it. I can manage this relationship. I know we probably came from different parents. I know that you have your flaws and I have my own flaws too. But you know what? I will be able to tolerate to some extent. I will be able to lie low in some things. I would not want to escalate things in most cases. And of course, for the matured ones, they will not even want to get a third party involved when they are having issues, right? This is where maturity set in. But in some situation, when it's hard to handle, the problem keep escalating if it is not properly handled, or if you are dealing with someone that is not matured, that relationship is heading towards a breakup. That relationship is heading towards a separation. That relationship might end up ending on a divorce. And you know that I told you that, of course, life in the Western world is very lonely, right? And that loneliness makes people to have this mindset that, of course, once they have problem in their relationship or in their marriage, they tend to replace their partners so fast rather than repair the damage. Most times they don't want to repair the damage because most people see that when the relationship or the marriage is breaking is a way of freedom for some people. And in this situation, you would see one party trying to stress the other party, either with the kids, the properties, and all that, because going through a divorce is a very, very stressful thing. And you know what? Normally, a problem that can easily be fixed back home and managed properly. Over here in the Western world, you see people move on freely, move on very fast. They would even want the breakup to happen so fast so that they can move on because they believe that they can easily get hooked up with someone else. There are dating app everywhere. There are, some kind of level of freedom, which, people never get from back home, but they believe that over here is on their tips. So rather than reflect on whatever problem they had with their partner to see how to fix it, they will rather choose to move on because they believe in their mindsets that there is something better out there than more than what they have. You know? And some relationship and some marriages, and of course, are very stressful. Not all that you can manage. Some are very stressful that most time breaking out is the only way out. So in this situation, it all depends, right? It all depends on what the case scenario is. But I bet you, life in the Western world stresses both partner, stresses relationship, and if possible, bring that relationship to the end. So I'm gonna wrap it up here by saying the Western world doesn't break relationship overnight. No. You know what it does? It reprograms how people value love, commitment, and sacrifice. And it tries to give people a different mindset on how to deal and handle their relationship. And when both party does not agree to that, when both party do not believe in adapting to the Western world lifestyle, it tends to bring an issue which is going to stretch the relationship, and if care is not taken, bring it to an end. So, living in the Western world would definitely make you, as someone in a relationship, to always learn in the hard way. So, I would say if you are someone in a relationship, if you are someone that is married, if you have a partner, look into this point that I've just discussed and see what you can learn from it. Also, air your own opinion in the comment section for me and tell me where and how you probably think that my point might not be the same as yours. Okay? But if there are ways on how what we have discussed today would help you to manage life in the Western world, I will highly appreciate if you can implement that in your relationship. And of course, until I see you all next time, I remain your girl D Fidelia. Remain blessed, stay safe, and of course, stay out of trouble. Bye bye.